Good morning, friends. Happy Sunday. It is beautiful outside right now. The colors are amazing. I don't know if you have a lot of trees where you live, but in our little community, the trees line the main street, and when they start to turn colors, which all of them have, and then even as you see some of the leaves just wafting down, it's just beautiful. I'm just grateful for this season. Beautiful, crisp fall day. It's chilly outside. And as I always say when I start a video, I've been meaning to do this and I just haven't. Not really any excuse except for when I think about making the video, it's usually early in the morning when I'm not really presentable. Not that you all would care, but anyway, so I thought, I'm gonna jump on here. I'm on my way to church and I have a few minutes that I can kind of update everybody. It's been a while. Yesterday was 7 months, Rodney's 7-month anniversary of going home, and I feel it. I feel it every day. I think of him every single day, every single minute of the day. I sometimes feel like time has stood still, and then I feel like it's moving quickly. I'm sure we could all say that. We've all felt that. But I'm still learning the highs and lows of grief, meaning there are good days and bad days. I've said that many times. You hear, I've done a lot of reading on grief and I have devotions that I listen to every morning on loss and grief and hope. There's always hope. I'm not just left in the pit. I want you to know there's always hope. They're scripture based, and I'm getting the word every single day of his promises, and that's really what I cling to. And some days are just still hard, and doggone it, it's like, but then some days are good, and today's a good day, and I'm grateful. And I know that gratitude has a lot to do with our outlook. It's just when you're sitting in that grief, that's kind of the last thing you're thinking of. You have to intentionally, as my husband would say, one of his favorite words, intentionally begin to be grateful, or quote the Lord's Prayer, or whatever it is. And so I'm still learning. I do feel that during these last 7 months, even before this, even after Rodney got diagnosed and we began to walk that journey, my relationship with the Lord changed drastically, and I had to lean in. I didn't have to, I guess. People lean out, they walk away because it's really hard for some to wrap their minds around how God could allow something so devastating. But that's where we go to Proverbs 3, 5, and 6. Trust in the Lord with all your heart. That's when we trust that he's with us, right? He holds us up with his righteous right hand. He said, I'll never leave you or forsake you. He sees our comings and our goings. Just the word is full of promises and security, honestly. So anyway, where am I at with Rodney's passing? Like I said, I think of him every day. every minute of the day. I said this in my last video, I think, or maybe the last two. There's memories everywhere in this area. I was sharing with my cousin that I was going over to see her last night, and I was driving by Yuba City High School on my way to her house. And that is a memory, because my senior year of high school was at Yuba City High School, and Rodney and I were dating, and we broke up that year for a long time. And when we finally got back together before graduation, he gave me a promise ring for graduation and just said that he was serious and wanted to make a commitment to me. And then, I don't know, not a full year later, but almost a year later, he proposed. So it has wonderful memories, but it's still memories of him, and he's not here. So it's always bittersweet, because the memories are great, but then you don't have the person with you. I've had some good moments during Grief Share where the Lord has helped me understand some things that I was going through that I didn't know that I was going through. I never thought that I had unforgiveness. I'm not mad at Rodney. I've never been angry at him since he passed. I truly, and I say this as true as I know how, I have not been angry at God. I've not yelled at God, and I mean, I've asked why, don't get me wrong, and I've cried many tears and didn't understand, but never blamed God. But as I'm going through this session of Grief Share, I realize, oh, I really do not like the hospital and the doctors where he went, and I blame them for his death. And that began a process of speaking out the name of the hospital and the name of the nurses and doctors and forgiving them and saying, I forgive you. And I'm still doing it. That was like 3 weeks ago, but I'm still doing it. I do feel better. I release it to the Lord and no longer blame them and get angry when I think of them. And so that's something the Lord revealed to me. And then 2 weeks ago, we learned about secondary losses. And secondary losses are all the things that we lose after we lose our person that they used to do. And we were supposed to write down a bunch of stuff, and so I've lost just, I don't even know what word to give him, a very focused, disciplined man that always kept me safe, always took care of me, always took care of our home, to the point probably of OCD at times, but I was spoiled by living in a home that was always kept up and groomed, and he was so proud of it. He loved to do it, and our cars were always taken care of. And most of all that comes from his dad. His dad modeled that, and Rodney just did it. And so I miss that. But I want to give a shout out to Leighton McIntosh and Christina and their church, because they have been taking care of me, and they pay for a yard service to come every week and take care, and it looks beautiful as something Rodney would do, and I'm so grateful to them. And so I just want to publicly tell them thank you. I tell them all the time, but that has been a huge blessing. And he took care of things in the house that I didn't ever think about. He changed the air conditioning filter. If there was light bulbs out, he changed the light bulbs. He took care of the cobwebs. He would always say to me, "Don't you see those?" And I'd say, "No, I don't." He cleaned the ceiling fans, which I don't want to do, I need to do. He was always wiping down something, right? He was always wiping down stuff in his garage. Dust did not live very long in our house where he was concerned. And these are the things I do not like to do. If something was broke, he either fixed it or he got somebody to fix it. So these are losses that I've had to endure. And I know it may seem like menial things, but when you've never had to do them, and when he began to lose a lot of his cognition, and I took over a lot of the household things like the money and the banking, and I'm so grateful that the Lord led us to get all of his paperwork in order. And a lot of that came from many of you that advised me, hey, do you have a power of attorney? You know, do you have a healthcare directive? We got a living will, a living trust put in place before he wasn't able to sign his name anymore. I mean, there were so many things. There were so many things that we were able to do beforehand, and I'm just so grateful. Because I hear that it's the paperwork and the things that many widows have to deal with is insurmountable. And so I'm very grateful for that, to be taken care of. So anyway, I am working through that. Many of you have been you've just been there, and I'm so grateful. I'm grateful for the calls. I'm grateful for the texts. I get that life goes on. People go on, they move on, they're doing their life, and my life is still standing still, basically. And so we just out of sight, out of mind sometimes, and I get that. I've done that too. So I'm grateful when I get a note or a text or a call. It means a lot, and I've said that before to people. Other than that, work is good. My job is good. My administrator, my colleagues are phenomenal. Just, if I need time off, all last year when Rodney was sick, I mean, they all pulled together and took care of things for me. And I will forever be grateful for all of that. Not a young man, he's my age. I'm not young anymore. A gentleman that we knew years ago that doesn't live in the area anymore came to Rodney's funeral, and he told me, if you need anything, you tell me. And that's always really hard to do, because you think, number one, you don't want to put people out. And I've had that from numerous people tell me that. And I did take that, I took Leighton up on that because I needed it. But if you need anything, and I've had many people tell me monetarily, if I needed help, and that's very hard to ask for, because you just think, I can do this, I'll figure it out. But this man, for 5 months after Rodney's funeral, sent me a pretty hefty financial blessing each month. And it was a huge blessing. And so people have taken me out to dinner, it's just been a blessing. And whenever I try to say, no, let me pay or whatever, and they don't let me, they always tell me, you took care of me for a long time. So, lesson learned, we got to learn to take blessings from people, as hard as it is. So anyway, I'm okay. I'm doing okay. I wish I could say I'm great. In the natural, no. I mean, in God's eyes, with the Lord's help, yes, I am. But I'm still navigating through this whole thing. So don't stop calling. Don't stop texting. Don't stop sharing stories. That's one thing even in Grief Share that we talk about. I don't know if people really understand. We love to talk about our person. It doesn't make us sad. And I know there's some people that don't know how to handle a person that's grieving. And so if I start crying because I'm talking about Rodney, that makes some people uncomfortable. I get it. And they think that they're hurting me, and so they stop me, and I say, no, it's okay. I want to talk about him, and I want you to talk about him, and I want you to share your stories with me and your memories. So please don't ever stop doing that. And I think I've said this also, I would really love his music to live on. I don't know how to really go about that. Some people have taken some of his songs, but I wish he would have made a CD, right? That shows my age. Years ago when we talked about it, we just never got it put together. But anyway, so friends, thank you for listening, and reach out anytime, any questions you have. Don't ever be afraid to ask, and God's in control, and I'm going to keep trusting him. So I appreciate you all so much and love you all. And oh, one other thing, I know people have asked me about the holidays, because this will be a first, and I honestly, as honest as I can tell you, I'm not dreading the holidays. I don't feel like they have been hard for me. I think because last year was difficult for Rodney, he didn't really understand what was going on, and so I grieved last year also. So I'm not dreading. My counselor asked me, she said, are you dreading the holidays? And I said, no, I don't think so. So I'm okay in that way. I love the holidays. So yeah. All right, friends, have a great day.